Few would argue that the Datsun 240Z isn't one of the greatest sports cars of all time. It has it all: racing pedigree, nimble handling, a distinct silhouette, tire shredding power. Okay, maybe that last one is a joke. This thing came equipped originally with a 6-cylinder that made a whopping 150 horsepower. But owner of this car, Eric Ritz, Datsun fanatic, found a cure for that with a T56 and a 6-liter LS2 out of a 2006 GTO. Putting down approximately 400 horsepower to the wheels, this 2,400-pound car boasts an amazing power-to-weight ratio that delivers 12-second time slips at the drag strip, accompanied by a rowdy muscle car soundtrack. Let's take a second and take a listen. Under the hood, it looks like this 1973 Datsun was almost made for a modern American V8. There's plenty of room, especially considering that the LS packs over 2.5 times the displacement of this car's original 2.4-liter straight 6. Induction is handled by a custom-built airbox wrapped in DEI reflected gold, feeding the free-flowing fast LSXR intake with fast billet fuel rails and MSD Pro Power coils provide the spark for this thing, mounted to a set of cast aluminum Holley valve covers. Under the valve covers, a set of comp cam rocker arms with a trunnion upgrade kit provides a little bit of peace of mind. Power is sent to an upgraded T56 with an aluminum flywheel from Fidanza and an LS7 clutch. Then it goes back to a beefy limited slip differential that started life in an Infiniti sedan. An aluminum Griffin radiator equipped with a Davies Craig electric water pump keep the temperatures on this thing in check. Underneath, a custom set of Bilstein coilovers keep the Z car handling and manageable in the twisties. Willwood calipers squeeze a set of Hawk rotors to help bring the fun to a halt. It's a combination that can get this thing around the autocross course in a hurry, even though it has a relatively set of modest 225 50R16 Yokohamas. Those are wrapped around a set of 16x8 Roto RB wheels, providing styling in a modern package. Eric works as an industrial designer, and it's evident throughout this build. It's finished in a 2-stage paint job in pure white and is set off by carbon fiber bumpers, door handles, and taillight panels. The hood features louvers from Trackspec Motorsports, and out back, the BRE style rear spoiler seen on factory-backed Datsun race cars in the 70s has been modified to be adjustable with laser-cut acrylic extensions designed by Eric himself. The fully caged interior takes it a step farther with its dimple die punched aluminum floor panels, black suede, and just the right amount of carbon fiber. The dash and console are made from custom fabricated aluminum, and Eric designed the aluminum trim bezel and switch labels, and a DigiDash provides instrumentation. And for safety, the car is equipped with Impact Racing 5-point harnesses and a fire bottle fire suppression system. Recaro seats from a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8 and a billet aluminum Ring Brothers shift knob tie it all together. Of course, anyone can see that this absolutely beautiful build goes as good as it looks, but there's only one way to find out for ourselves, so we're gonna see if Eric will take us for a ride. Eric, you come from a long family of Datsun enthusiasts, and so you kind of have a soft spot for these cars. Touch on that and kind of tell us the story about the love story with your family in these cars.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, my uncle, my grandfather, my uncle worked at a dealership. My dad bought brand new 510. In fact, his first like GT race car was a 510 that him and my mom bought brand new. And they autocrossed it for a while and then slowly turned it into like an SCCA GT4 production car, full cage. It's still supposedly somewhere in this area. We haven't found it yet, but at one point I'm wondering if maybe that'll come back home and we could restore it. It'd be pretty cool.
And that's like the cool part about this platform is they've almost had like a renaissance. It's a second coming of these cars. I've seen more of these and 510s in the last 5 or 6 years than I have in my entire life, I think. So as we're driving this thing, like the drivability is absolutely amazing, and this does have a modern drivetrain out of a GM car.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us what made you go with the LS, why you chose it, and what you love about it.
Yeah, I mean, the drivability is number one. I mean, every other Datsun we have has a Datsun engine in it. They're fantastic engines. There's nothing wrong with them at all. You can do all kinds of really cool stuff, but you start getting into the 400 or 500 horsepower range with those, you're pulling the cam cover off and dumping oil on it, or getting a spray bar and you're dry sumping and you're doing all that. It makes it, for a street driven car, not nearly as much fun as getting in this and literally turning the key and it drives like a lightweight Corvette.
Now, in that aspect of, you know, outfitting this thing with performance brakes, suspension, and all that, was all the stuff pretty available, or is it more of you're picking and piecing things together and making a lot of stuff?
This build started really early on in the adoption of LS swaps, so a lot of that stuff is one-offs from 10, 12 years ago, before everybody was shoving an LS and everything. Nowadays, there's a lot more aftermarket options, there's a lot more stuff. I think at the time there was like one set of motor mounts, and the rear end swap was a little bit different because there was a lot of, you know, guys testing and trying stuff out, a lot of home garage-based stuff. But some of those parts just on this car and are performing flawlessly, like the CV axles we talked about earlier.
It just drives so well.
It's like crazy.
It's the, you know, it's stuck to the road well. It feels, it's got great manners. It does not have the race car feel, which I kind of like.
Yeah. Unless you get real rowdy with this pedal, and then all of a sudden it starts sticking the whole, you know.
Yeah, this is fantastic. The coolest part for me is you use the living snot out of this thing. So
I tried to.
Autocross, drag racing, a little bit of track. Talk about that.
I've done some autocross events. We do a local car show, the Blue Suede Cruise up in Norwalk at Summit Raceway Park. They have an autocross event. I've taken it up and just literally ran the snot out of it for 2 days straight. Cone marks all over it and had a blast. Run it down the drag strip as much as can. Give people rides in it. SEMA opened up their SEMA garage in Detroit. I drove it up there 4 hours without a problem. A lot of these, like all these bezels and everything, are laser cut, and I drew all the patterns, used an online laser cutting service to custom laser cut all those pieces.
So how long did it take you to do the dash and everything like that?
The dash, I kind of drew up. I actually did a little sketch. You know, I was just sketching my sketchbook at work, and I sketched something up, and I wanted to pay homage to like the original dash with the 3 gauges. So I was trying to think of some way of bringing that back in, but this car didn't. Like when we got the shell, it had no dash. So I had to basically start from scratch. So I just took a piece of aluminum and put it in the press brake actually at work, and my coworker kind of hit it and just gradually bent it to get the curve, covered it with insulation foam and suede.
Man, what a ride that was, and the stories with this car are even cooler. I would like to thank Eric for bringing this amazing car up and taking us on a sweet ride and talking all about it, and dragging this sweet 510 along as well. If you want to see a full write-up on this 240Z, head over to On All Cylinders and check out the blog article. But for all sorts of cool videos and more, head over to the Summit Racing YouTube channel and punch that subscribe button so you don't miss out on celebrity interviews, vehicle builds, ride features, and so much more. So until next time, I'm Justin with Summit Racing, and the golden question is, what are you working on?